We'll go ahead and call the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission meeting to order. I have the time as 4:07. Go ahead and start with roll call, please.
Commissioner Concepcion Harris.
Present.
Commissioner Howard Harris. Commissioner Hearns. Commissioner Kiefer.
Present.
Commissioner Lawson. Here. Vice Chair Moulton.
Here.
Chairman Derryberry.
I'm here as well.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and I'd like to invite Pastor John Meters. I understand, John, you're here. There you are. He's from the Christian Life Assembly Church, so the podium is yours.
Okay, let's stand and pray.
And if we can remain standing after the invocation for the Pledge of Allegiance, I would appreciate that too.
Lord, we thank you that we can come into your presence and present a request to you that you are alive and a living God that hears us. Lord, we pray your blessing upon each one here in this room, and especially upon our councilmen. Lord God, that you would bless them and give them wisdom and direction today. Father, all the business that is before them, Father, guide them. And Father, we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please place the flag. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we're on to public business from the floor. This is a time for citizens who would like to address our commission on an agendized item. To speak on an item, please complete a speaker card. Individual speakers have 3 minutes. Do we have any speakers tonight? Okay, we'll go ahead and move to the consent calendar. We can take all items on the consent calendar with one vote. We have 3 items: the approval of the meeting minutes for August 7th, August 21st, and to approve the cancellation of the January 1st, 2013 meeting of this commission.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from August 7th and August 21st and the cancellation of the meeting on January 1st.
I second the motion.
All right. All in favor, please vote. Okay, the motion carries. So now we'll move to our local presentations. I'd like to invite Patty Garibay from the City of Lancaster Parks, Recreation, and Arts Department up to give us a presentation regarding the Mental Toughness for Success program.
Oh. I knew there was a reason I walked by there.
It's baby brain.
It is. It's baby brain. Jeez. And actually, I'm doing a presentation just on the Unite Lancaster program, and we'll have another speaker who will share a little bit about mental toughness for success. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Before we recognize students from the Unite Lancaster Mental Toughness for Success program, I wanted to share an update on all of the projects that took place this year on September 22nd. As you all know, this was the city's 4th year hosting the, see, I can't breathe, too. Another pregnancy thing. So this is the city's 4th year hosting the Unite Lancaster program, and from the feedback that we've received both from the community and also from our Safer Stronger Neighborhoods committee, it looks like it was definitely the most positive year and the best so far. As you know, 7 projects were hosted, all having a direct impact in the El Dorado community, and also meeting one of our Unite Lancaster goals, which are 1, to improve neighborhoods, 2, to improve neighbor interaction, and 3, to increase public safety. The following pictures were taken during the Unite Lancaster program and show some of the topics that were covered throughout the 7 projects. This first picture is from the boot camp readiness program at Endeavor Middle School, and basically what the kids did is they went through a readiness program that helped them prepare for 6th grade, and as the culmination of their program, they basically gave back to their school and did a cleanup, and they did a wonderful job. The second picture is from our Historic Boulevard project, where we actually had neighbors get together and do a yard cleanup in their homes, and then they also planted drought-tolerant materials. The Monte Vista PTA hosted a welcome back community barbecue at their school, and that's the first picture that you see. And the program that we'll hear a little bit about in a few minutes is the Lancaster Youth Development Foundation. These are actually some of their mentors who led young people through a 6-week mentoring program and who taught them, different types of life skills. The culmination of their program was also a community cleanup in El Dorado. The Unity by Numbers 2 group continued their goal of increasing public safety in El Dorado, and what they did is they actually painted curb numbers in El Dorado for different neighbors. And so the purpose of that is obviously to make it more accessible for fire and for sheriff if there's ever an emergency. They did that throughout the community. And then the second project is the Outreach Center. And what they did is they painted these different bricks, which are then going to be placed at the El Dorado Park and just add a little bit of community art to that area. Can't forget arts and education. The Unite Chess program was introduced to children this year at El Dorado Elementary, and basically chess has been proven to really help kids learn strategy and also to help them learn how to work with other people. And as you can tell, these kids are really into that activity. The second is public safety. It's again, through the Monte Vista PTA, what they did is they hosted a bike safety training class, educating kids on the rules of the road. And this was just one of our participants. So the impact of this year's program was amazing, especially considering that all our 7 projects were completely facilitated and created by volunteers. So it's pretty astonishing. In total, we worked with 12 different community partners, including the Lancaster School District and the Outreach Center. We also had 13 community sponsors who gave us donations, who gave us different resources, and that really helped us put this program on at a very low cost. And most impressive of all is that we had over 100 volunteers and 800 participants who donated 1,000 hours of volunteer time to the Unite Lancaster program. So it's pretty astonishing what we did in one weekend. We obviously can't forget our sponsors, and all these different sponsors that you see up here are people who donated different items to the program. And again, we couldn't have done this program without them. It was really a minimal cost for the city considering all that we did and all the different types of projects that we hosted. I also wanted to give a quick thank you to Roxy Karamanian. She's one of our Safer, Stronger Neighborhoods representatives, and she actually led our sponsorship team this year and did a fantastic job. So I really wanted to thank her. And then finally, it wouldn't be Unite Lancaster without our Safer, Stronger Neighborhoods team, and I really did want to thank everybody on this list: Lita Rico, Brenda Gimlowski, Luis Garibay, Roxy Karamanian, Richard Long, Anne-Marie Mercer, Chun Ing, Jennifer Priscaro, Kelvin Tenatongo, Josh Thomas, Amy Vasquez, and Rebecca Weir. If it wasn't for all these volunteers, we wouldn't have been able to put these projects on this year, and so I'm very grateful to them for all that they did. Our projects really ran very seamlessly, and everything came to fruition exactly as we planned it because of all their help, so a big thank you to them. And that's all I have to share, but I did want to introduce Kiana O'Leary, who's here from the Lancaster Youth Development Foundation. And she is going to tell us a little bit about their project and also recognize some of their students who did a lot of really good work in our community over the weekend. So with that, if you want to join me.
Looks like I'm joining too.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Kiana O'Leary. I am the founder and executive director of Lancaster Youth Development Foundation. This is our president of our board, Michael Wooten, and we just want to tell you a little bit about our specific program as it relates to the Unite program, and it was Mental Toughness for Success. I'm just going to have Michael speak a little bit about it before we bring our participants up and acknowledge them for their hard work and dedication.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We had a great program. We did. Our focus was Mental Toughness for Success, and what it was a 5-week program that was designed to bring youth in the community, more specifically in that targeted area, and teach them about family, the importance of it, teach them about finance, work preparedness, community involvement, things of that nature. And so every week there was a different topic covered. All right, and so we kind of had a classroom environment where they where they learned, they listened, they participated, and hopefully got something out of it. And then it culminated on the actual day that we went out and we did community involvement. And it was kind of funny because we had a lot of kids that were coming in throughout the 5-week period. But we were asking them to get up, at 7 o'clock in the morning to meet us at the park at 7:30 so that we could mow lawns in the community. So I was terrified. Personally, I was absolutely terrified. I was like, oh my God, these kids are not going to come. We're asking them to mow lawns at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't even want to be there. So I was really, really nervous. But we did phone banking to remind them. And when the day came, I was absolutely blown away. I think I was the last person there. And I got there at 7:47 in the morning, and I think I was the last person there. And so we were just really, really impressed by these kids, their involvement, their dedication to not only to the project, but to themselves and to their communities. Because that's what that last day was really about, not just, taking what you can get out of it, but what you can give to somebody else. And so it was an awesome event. I believe we had over 30 kids come out that day. We mowed 30 lawns, right? I was out there with some sweats and a T-shirt making it happen too. And so it's just a good event, and we're really proud. Behind me are a culmination of members, sponsors, individuals that helped us mentor and develop the kids, as well as some of the kids that are actually out there that day as well. We wish we could have more, and that was the idea, but, schedules on top of, where that area is and where we are, and transportation was an issue. But we thank you for your time and giving us this opportunity to share. It really was a great event.
Great, thank you.
Is that everything of our chairman?
Go ahead.
So as we call you, if you would just come forward and receive your award. First, we want to acknowledge Christina Martin. Next, Alize Young. Khalil Small. Nehemiah Kalem. Shavante Wilson. Lorena London Calderon. And this program wouldn't have been success without the mentors who participated in leading and guiding and facilitating the project, so I want to acknowledge them as well. Standing to my left, our president, Mr. Michael Wooten. His lovely wife, LaQuinta Wooten. LaTora Saxton. Corey Saxton. Joy Flowers. Jeremiah Flowers. John Keith. Edwin Reed. And Mr. Roland Woods. Can I have a group picture? The person who designed the shirts and got the shirts for us, and the audience.
That's okay.
All right, thank you very much.
We're actually going to recess the meeting for about 5 minutes to enjoy some refreshments outside. So you guys can take a break for a few and help me congratulate these youth and their mentors. So thank you. again, so we'll move on to our next presentation. So she already started to stand. We have Dr. Elise Pomerantz from the Los Angeles County Public Health Department. So she's here to give us some important information.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So that's right, my name is Elise Pomerantz, and I am the Acting Area Health Officer and Area Medical Director for Antelope Valley, which we call Spa 1, and the San Fernando Valley, Spa 2. And I've been Acting Area Health Officer for about 6 months, so I'm still in the steep part of the learning curve. And I was asked to come and bring health statistics for you, specifically for Lancaster and Antelope Valley. So I'm going to lead you, so I know it's late in the day, and some of you may be not familiar looking at health statistics or graphs and charts, so I'll try to make it interesting, but if there's questions as you go along, please stop me and ask me questions. All right. So what is public health? So really what I want to do is create a distinction between public health and Department of Health Services. So Department of Health Services is the personal health that you know about, patient goes to the doctor, and we have some of that, but DHS is all patient goes to the doctor for their diabetes or their primary care needs. And there's many clinics up here in the Antelope Valley that are DHS clinics. Public health, on the other hand, is interested in population health. And so we generally provide assessment of problems, providing statistics and trends, and we do some assurance, and we also do policy development in the hopes of affecting a population versus individual. Now, I did say we do some direct patient care, and I happen to be in the department that provides that, which is Community Health Services. And up here in the Antelope Valley, we have one health center, the Antelope Valley Health Center, and it's located on K6, and we have STD clinic services there and tuberculosis services there. And our mission is up there. So Service Planning Area 1, so the county, for those of you who don't know, the county is divided into 8 areas for the purposes of healthcare delivery. And Antelope Valley is Service Planning Area 1, or SPA 1. And as you can see, it's the northernmost part of LA County, and it has the largest geographic region, 1,500 square miles, and all of LA County is only 4,300 square miles, so it's a full third of the geography, which you probably already know. But when you look at the population, it has 350,000 people in Antelope Valley, and we have here divided by age and by race. So the age, it's majority is a young population. 6 to 64 is the majority of the population. And in terms of race in all of the Antelope Valley, 48% white, 34% Latino, and then 13% African American. And if we look at just Lancaster, so I brought Lancaster demographics for you, it's about half of the total population, a little bit more, of Antelope Valley at 150-some thousand people. And the population, the age population is very similar. Young population, 5 to 64 is the majority. And then, but the demographics, the ethnicity demographics change a little bit. So the Hispanic population now is number 1, makes up 38%, and then white is 34%, and the African American population is about 20%. Okay, so I'm going to take you through some health trends, talk about life expectancy, then leading causes of death, and then some specific health issues. So when we look at life expectancy, so again, this is our map of LA County. The darker the color, the worse the life expectancy. So we see, this is Lancaster and Palmdale here, so we see a lower life expectancy compared to other areas, some other areas in the county, and the life expectancy is 72 to 79 years old on average. And if we look at it like this, Lancaster average life expectancy is 76 years old compared to the average for LA County, which is 80.3 years old. And Lancaster actually ranks 99 among 102 communities for life expectancy. So it's very low on the list. So then we have to ask ourselves, well, why is that? And that leads us to leading causes of death. So this is a very busy slide, but I'm going to try to make it clear for you. So on the left, we have leading causes of death, and then on the right, we have leading causes of premature death. So premature death is defined, and it's here at the bottom, as death before age 75. So I'm going to first go over the leading causes of death. So I think, yeah, there we go. So the top 5 causes of death: coronary heart disease, emphysema, lung cancer, diabetes, stroke. These are all preventable conditions. So tobacco and obesity are the primary causes for all of these conditions. So I just want to point that out, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. On the right side, in terms of premature death, for quite a while, motor vehicle accident was actually the #1 cause of premature death in Antelope Valley. And then in the last 2 years, it's been coronary heart disease. And this may, I think, for 2 reasons, motor vehicle accidents are on the decrease, and obesity is on the increase. So I think that may explain that. Okay, so moving on to health issues. So we start with obesity. So obesity is a very hot topic, I'm sure you're aware, and this is the prevalence of obesity in adults over a 10-year period of time, and in LA County. So you can see in 1997, 14.3% were considered obese, and now it's 20%. And actually, it is estimated in 2030 that it will be 50% of all Americans will be obese at the rate that we're going. And we added in there that this is 51 million pounds gained over that 10-year period of time. So if we look at obesity specifically in Lancaster, and we added in Palmdale, so on the very left-hand side, Healthy People 2020 goal, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, that's there's a national task force that sets goals, health goals, and one of them is to address obesity, and the goal for 2020 is for childhood obesity to be 14.6 or lower, and for adult obesity to be 30.6 or lower. Now you can see that LA County currently is lower, so the rest of the nation may be a little bit larger than we are. However, when we compare LA County, or Lancaster and Palmdale with LA County, you can see that adults are a little bit more obese, and children are a little bit, well, it's about the same for Lancaster and Palmdale. Okay, so what are the consequences? There are many, and there are physical consequences and emotional consequences to obesity. So obviously many of those causes of death, so high blood pressure, which leads to coronary artery disease, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, very important to know. Many physical problems come from obesity, and also emotional problems, as you can read there. But in addition, there's also a fiscal loss due to obesity. So the CDC actually has what they call an obesity cost calculator that can help you estimate in a specific organization or population what the cost would be to that organization. So I did a quick calculation for this for the City of Lancaster employees. So based on, there are about 370 employees within the City of Lancaster, and then they pull local data. The medical cost of obesity every year is $678 per person per year. The work loss cost is $276 per person per year, and overall, the total medical and work loss cost is, is $250,000. And it's probably a bit of an underestimate because we didn't have specific data that we're putting in there, and that's just one organization. So it's very, very costly to the society at large, so to speak. Okay, so DPH interventions. So Department of Public Health, what are we doing about it? So these are just a few of the projects that we've been working on. The Antelope Valley Cook-Off is a yearly event. It was called Champions for Health, where we bring in kids and their families and teach them good nutrition, and there's a competition to cook a healthy snack and a meal, and also physical education. Steps for Health is very much in the formative stages. It's a collaboration between Antelope Valley Partners in Health and Antelope Valley Community Clinic with ourselves to get patients and their families walking on a regular basis. The Heal Zone grant is through Kaiser, and it's targeting low-income schools in high morbidity areas in Antelope Valley. And then breastfeeding, and I want to really point out breastfeeding. This is a big deal. So the Surgeon General in 2011 had a call for action to increase exclusive breastfeeding among mothers in the United States. And the reason for this is that exclusively breastfed children, babies, have a 24% reduction in obesity. So it is a huge strategy to reduce obesity. We actually have a consortium going on with hospitals, of which Antelope Valley Hospital is a member, and is working towards this designation called baby-friendly designation, which means that they're going through very specific, detailed steps to optimize their exclusive breastfeeding moms. And it's been fantastic and very successful. So Antelope Valley Hospital is in the process of doing that. Okay, so I'm going to move on to tobacco use. So this is, the blue is the LA County, adults who smoke, percentage of adults who smoke, and then the red is SPA 1. So SPA 1 has a much higher rate of tobacco use at 20% among adults. And then teenagers who smoke is about 13%. We actually don't collect that data for the SPA-specific data, so that's why I don't have it. It's just not available. And so what do we do? What is the DPH response to tobacco? So there's a number of ongoing things. A lot of the efforts are in the area of policy and the tobacco program. There's a very specific tobacco program in the Department of Public Health that works with the municipalities to get different ordinances passed through to reduce tobacco smoke, especially in public areas. And I know that they've been working in Palmdale and Lancaster. There's also a variety of coalitions that are working towards this. Okay, and tobacco exposure can cause asthma. So this is asthma hospitalizations by LA County SPA from 2006 to 2008. So here's Antelope Valley on the very left, and it has the highest rate of asthma hospitalizations in all the SPA, second to south. And asthma emergency room visits is second to south in LA County. So we had an asthma task force in Antelope Valley that was working towards a pilot project. I think it's a little bit on pause, but that's something that we were working on. And there's also an LA County Asthma Coalition that works on this problem. And we have provided technical assistance and data and such. Okay, motor vehicle accidents. So this is, I wanted to show this. This project's on hiatus also because it's improved significantly. So what you see here, the top blue line is occupant deaths. The sort of dark blue line here is all motor vehicle deaths. And in rural areas, you tend to see 2-to-1 accidents compared to urban areas, and that just tends to be a baseline around the country. So when it was identified that it was twice that sort of baseline, that's when they put together a task force. It was a variety of people involved, including sheriff and other interested stakeholders. And there was a lot of analysis of this problem and some increased enforcement, and it started to go down. It's hard to tell if it was due to the interventions or if it just sort of corrected itself due to increased, stop signs and things like that in the area. But it has gotten better, and the task force isn't currently meeting. Okay, so I'm going to move to STD rates. So we're going to talk about three, mainly chlamydia, but there are 3 STDs listed here. Early syphilis, which is red, gonorrhea is gray, and chlamydia is yellow. Chlamydia is the most common reportable sexually transmitted disease, and it has the highest rate in South LA here, but you can see that Antelope Valley has the second highest rate. And this was brought to our attention. And this is year by year, so 2008 through 2011, so you can see that it's a trend. And when we look to see, well, who has chlamydia? Where is the problem? We break it down by ethnicity. So yellow is African American, green is Hispanic, white is gray, and Asia Pacific Islanders red. You can see that the rate is very high among African Americans, and it actually is the high. So Antelope Valley has the highest rate of chlamydia among African Americans in the entire county, and that's actually what brought us to that. That is what the STD program brought that to our attention, and that's what initiated the task force up here. And that was in around 2008, 2009. Okay, so this area right here is magnified here. So you can see all of the different ethnicities well, because they're sort of hidden in the previous slide. But again, it just shows that the African American rate is very high. And then if we look at it by age group, it's affecting, so this is the light blue is the rate in 2008, and the green is the rate in 2011 to show the trend, and you can see that really chlamydia is affecting young people, essentially 15 to 24 year age range. And yeah, here we go. So this is, this little statistic here is for all of LA County. We don't have that specifically for SPA 1, but we know that in all of LA County, a black teenager is 11 times more likely to have chlamydia than a white teenager and 4 times more likely than a Hispanic teenager. And so that is very startling, and again, it was part of what brought us up here. And so what I want to say about chlamydia is that, it's easily treatable. It's a one-time pill, and that's it, as long as you don't get infected again. But the issue with chlamydia is that it's a marker for high-risk behavior. So people who get chlamydia are having unprotected sex, and this leads to other issues, such as teenage pregnancy. So it's really a gateway and an opportunity for us to sort of start to address all these issues at large. So here, this is the rate of births per 1,000 live births by service planning area. So Antelope Valley has the second highest rate of teenage pregnancy in the county next to South LA. And then when we look at prenatal care, so we know the earlier you get into prenatal care, the better the outcomes. And a full third of women who get pregnant in the Antelope Valley receive late or no prenatal care at all. And we know, so this is not by age, this is all women, but we know that if you are a teenager, 50% of teenagers do get late or no prenatal care, as obvious reasons. They may or may not know they're pregnant, they don't have access, they don't have transportation, they're scared, they don't want to tell anybody, all of those things. Okay, so the response that we've had so far to what we've been doing to address STDs is we created the task force in 2009. We have broad community membership, and we have 3 main interventions currently. One is provider intervention, so we're going to all of the top diagnosers of chlamydia in the Antelope Valley. We've been to all of them to present this data because they don't know. They're not aware of this. And so we're presenting the data, we're helping them put together a chlamydia elimination program, and we're providing continuing medical education for their staff if they would have us. We're also going out to the community, so sort of the 20 to 24 age range, we're trying to target them through the vocational schools and university, et cetera, and that's also very well received. And then we're trying to target the schools, and this has been much more difficult, of course. And we would really like to target the middle schools because middle school students aren't yet infected with chlamydia. They really aren't. And so they have yet to make that decision, and we would like to get to them before they make that decision. We would obviously, for middle school age range, you want to promote abstinence, but if a student makes a different decision, we want them to have the information they need to be safe and healthy. So this is what we are working on right now. Okay, so then that brings us to infant mortality rates. I'm going to apologize ahead of time because this is 2007. I know we have 2009 data, and it's not as high, but Antelope Valley has the highest rate of infant mortality in LA County, and you can see that the trend is higher among the African American cohort. In terms of the response to this, there are a number of groups that are very focused on this, including Black Infant Health here in Antelope Valley, and there are a number of collaboratives that are working on this that DPH is also associated with. And then emergency preparedness. So this is just something, I threw this in here so that you're aware. We do a lot of emergency preparedness planning and reaching out to communities to help them prepare. We do it with, there's a specific project going on right now funded by the CDC called the LA County Disaster Resiliency Project, where we're choosing communities and training them to develop an emergency plan for their communities. It's sort of a pilot project, so just to know that. And these are a number of our partners, so APPH work very closely with, and Black Infant Health and schools and local colleges, universities, et cetera. And this is our website, which is included in your packets, and that's me. So, that was a lot of information in a short period of time, so I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
No, go ahead. Conception, please.
Have they figured out why it is that we have the highest rate of asthma, or is that just an unknown?
Okay, so I'm sure it's a multifaceted reason, but what intuitively makes sense to me is that Antelope Valley has a very high rate of tobacco use, and exposure to tobacco smoke can cause asthma.
When is your annual cook-off?
That was in July. It was the end of July. And if that's something you're interested, I could put you in touch with the folks that are working on that.
I have a question. Elise, did you say that the AV Asthma Task Force is no longer functioning, or?
I think it's
No.
sort of on hiatus right now. It was meeting regularly, and right now it is not meeting regularly. I think we're going to be in discussion about possibly starting that up again.
Okay, and that's to your department, or is it, okay.
Well, it's in collaboration with ABPH.
It's in collaboration with
Yes.
ABPH. Oh, okay.
I know someone you could talk to about that.
Okay. So it started and then kind of stopped?
Yeah, we were really focusing on with the school nurses and in the elementary schools, because one of the big problems is, one, the children using their inhalers properly, having the inhalers at school, working with their doctors to making sure their meds are at school. But it was just really hard getting them to meetings are so short-staffed, the school nurses, they're like now covering. So we have to just we had to kind of put on hiatus, but we want to come together, but we need to figure out how to do it proactively so that we can make the changes. But with the Heal Zone project, it might make more sense to do it in those schools because we're so embedded already through the Healthy Eating Active Living that we might be able to get some pilot programs really focused in there.
I was thinking more of targeting the smokers, with the adults and the families that smoke that kind of cause this anyway. Yeah, we can do the treatment with the school nurses, but as far as getting to the cause.
One of the other is the Pueblois Lalud. They do a lot of the tobacco prevention part of it, so they really handle that part of it. And then the Asthma Task Force was really trying to focus on the school and kids part of it. So it's kind of a team.
And just to give you a little bit of background, the reason we're kind of a little bit obsessed with the asthma is the mayor of the city of Lancaster has brought forth a project. It's called Asthmopolis. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And it's a device that tracks the use of inhalers, basically.
Right.
And the mayor's kind of put it upon our commission to try to figure out if it's possible for something we can implement in our community to help these numbers. I mean, I think one of the many important things that you brought forth today is asthma. I mean, obviously, I can agree with the breastfeeding. I have a 4-week-old, so it gives me a little bit more sleep at night. But with regards to asthma, I think it's very, very important. So that's why that's kind of why we're asking you those specific questions.
Absolutely.
And I want to say the interesting thing about the asthma, and it's not shown here in the data, but the highest age group, if I'm not mistaken, is the 0 to 5 for the hospitalization for asthma.
Okay.
So that really goes into our infant mortality and things like that as well.
Yeah, and I think when you start looking at asthma, you have to address the tobacco. So it would sort of be a hand-in-hand win-win.
What about the vaccinations for chlamydia?
Vaccination for
Don't they
chlamydia?
have that?
I think you mean HPV?
I do. I'm sorry, HPV.
Okay.
Do you?
I was like, wow,
I'm
there's a
sorry.
vaccination.
Different STD.
Yes, different STD. So HPV, human papillomavirus, is the most common viral
Right.
sexually transmitted infection, and chlamydia is a bacteria.
Right.
And so, HPV doesn't prevent chlamydia at all.
No, I know. So, but do you promote that at all, the vaccinations? for
Yeah,
HPV?
absolutely. We have it in our clinics and we promote it, and
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So your clinic is on the K6 right here on Division, right?
Yes, so we're co-housed with some DHS clinics.
Okay. Now, is there anything that the city of Lancaster can do, at least, to help you? I mean,
Yes. So I think, there's a lot going on. And I think, and there's a lot of sort of projects going on. And what I think we should probably do is identify where the gaps are and focus there. I think there's some gaps in tobacco, and that's something I kind of want to look into. And then obesity. There's a lot of emphasis on prevention of childhood obesity, but there's not a lot of work being done on adult obesity. And so that might be a place to work, because when you start addressing those two things, you address all sorts of things. The top 5 causes of death, many of the premature causes of death, infant mortality, many, many things. So, get more bang for your buck when you do that. So that's where I'm starting to look. I'm very new in this position, as I said, so I'm starting to get my arms wrapped around this, and that's where I would like to focus.
Well, I mean, any programs, any ideas you can have. I mean, I'm not trying to obligate our wonderful city staff to do anything extra, but I mean, I think that it's safe to say that, that these are obviously issues that we're concerned with as well. So anything that we can offer you, I mean, please ask us. I mean, this
Absolutely.
is the city staff here that brought you today, our commission, I think are good places to start, and we're willing to help. We're willing to kind of fill the need and the gaps that are related to these things. I mean, I think we can all, we all understand that these two particular issues, tobacco, obesity, are high on our priority list as well. So.
Right, thank you. And we have a very close working relationship with AVPH and Michelle, so that's probably where we start.
Yeah, we like Michelle around here too, so.
I have another quick question. When are you going to update this?
Yeah, that's, I was getting that question here. I believe that's being updated.
Is it? Great.
Yeah, there's a whole department dedicated to doing that, so I
Okay.
believe that's being updated.
Is it updated every 2 years?
It's more, it's like 3-4 years,
Every
something
3 or
like
4
that,
years?
yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you think maybe in the next 6 months or so?
I can find out for sure for you. I'll find, because I'm going to, how many would you like?
Well, I utilize this a lot with Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
If I need resources from regional Kaiser through Southern California, just to show that our community has a little more health factors, that we need a little more help
Right,
with
where you see the
physicians and
disparities,
staff and
yeah.
programs.
Okay.
So, yeah, I use this a lot in my reports
Okay.
for additional staff.
Okay, I'll find out when it's expected to come out.
Any of the commissioners have any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your information.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. Okay, now we're on to staff updates. Brenda, do we have anything new for us?
We have Bark at the Park this weekend, so bring your dogs out and enjoy the weather. And then we also have Boulevard coming up at the end of the month. And I think that's all the events. Oh, Celebrate America on the Boulevard as well.
You guys really jam-packed October together, didn't you?
Yes.
You take advantage of the weather.
Great. So Bark and Park's this weekend, the Boulevard's the weekend before Halloween, correct? And then Celebrate America, 13th. I'm kind of planning ahead because my office is on the Boulevard. So
Well, you got to be out there on the 12th too for the homecoming parade for the 100th anniversary of Antelope Valley High School.
Oh, that's right. So I was a Courtauld High School grad, so
We have a few Antelope Valley. And since your office is in our
yes, that's true. That's true. So we have alum from all the schools on our commission. So, but we're glad to support Lancaster. I mean, Antelope Valley High School's 100 year.
we're doing something special
The- Well, as fast as they're building that building, I mean, I don't know.
pretty quick.
Man, I go over every day to make sure they're not cutting any corners. Because I'm already on the second story, so at least if I fall through, I'll land on something and not something land on me. So, man, they are moving quick. They're doing a great job. I'm excited. Anyways, public business from the floor. I have to read this, right? Do you guys know? I mean, yeah. We request any person who would like to address the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission on non-agendized items to complete a speaker card, and you will find the speaker cards in the back table of the council chambers. Additionally, we request that you fill out the cards completely and print as clearly as possible so that if necessary, the commission or city staff will be able to contact you either by phone or mail. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. When you approach the podium, please notice there are 3 lights. The green light comes on when you begin, the yellow light when you have 30 seconds remaining, and the red light comes on when you have your 3 minutes are up. We ask that you be considerate of the allotted time to allow other speakers to have their 3 minutes as well. Following this procedure will allow for a smooth and timely process for the commission meeting, and we appreciate your cooperation. State law prohibits our commission from taking action on the items not on the agenda, and your matter will be referred to staff. Do we have any speaker cards today?
No, sir.
No. Hearing no speaker cards. Commissioners, do we have any new comments? And from anybody? Patty or Calvin, do we have an update on the dog ordinance from city attorney?
The city attorney's actually has a draft ready for review, which we're going to be sending to you very shortly, because I believe you are going to be meeting with the mayor to kind of go over what discussions took place at the last public meeting that we had regarding that.
Okay.
And that will give this commission then the opportunity as far as additional direction, what to do with that ordinance. So you should be getting that probably within the next day.
Okay. That works for me. And then also give you an update. Michelle, Linda, and I, and city staff, we had a presentation from Asimopolis this last week. It was last week, right? Man, my head's a little loose, I guess. But it's so we're still kind of exploring that avenue for the city as well as to how we can incorporate that Asimopolis program. With all the other great, the wellness programs and things we have going with the city. So that's still a work in progress. We'll update maybe December might be something we can give the commission an update on the presentation or something. So that's all I had were those 2 things. So hearing nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 5:15.